I think that's where it's airing out.
This computer's a little bit special, so it might just have to do their imagination. It worked yesterday when we practiced. So now on your sales transaction screen, I'm not sure how many of you are on version 2010. You guys have it? Some of you? So you've noticed that you have a couple of icons on here that are new. So you have this email one here, and you have this email. So if you click the one next to the customer ID, this will show you what's in the customer master. So you can either always send it to that one, or if you have a particular invoice that needs to go to someone else, as long as it's not posted, you can change it. Once an invoice is posted, the screen is grayed out, so you can't change the email address, but you can send it again to the person that was in there originally. Does that make sense? So we can try it, but we weren't having very much. So you can just type it in right there. If you want to change the message on the fly, you can also change your message in the screen, or you can choose a different message ID if you don't want to use the one that was in their customer card. And then you have the option to send documents and email. And once you click this button, it doesn't ask you, do you really want to do this? So you just want to be careful, because some people were like, oh, what's this button? And they were just like sending invoices all the time. So, sorry you got that 5 times, we were learning. So that's kind of one thing to be careful of, or just let your people know that that's what that button is, and once you start using templates. Yeah, I think the Outlook on this isn't quite configured, but once you click that, then an email will go out, and you can just do it one at a time as you're invoicing, or as someone calls and you need to send them an invoice. If it's not posted, you can just go in there, open it up, and send it out. From yesterday, we sent one out, and it worked. So this is just how it appears in Outlook. So it came from Dynamics User, because that's what this computer is called. And then it was attached as an XPS. It has your greeting message and then your attachment. They get your beautiful document, and you didn't have to do a lot of work to save it somewhere and then go to your Outlook and attach it. And, we were just getting requests all the time to send emails, and so it's kind of annoying for our invoice clerks to do their batch all day long, and then at the end of the day try to remember which customers had email addresses, and then go reference another list, and print them to PDF, and then go into Outlook and change them. So this is something that saved us a ton of time at the end of the day.
So if you wanted to add supporting documents,
you probably, like, it wouldn't be a document that was in GP.
Probably not. Like
what you,
a freight bill, a signed freight bill.
Yeah. What you could do is just email it to yourself and then send it on, or just print it out. But yeah, I don't think you can attach other things.
Since it's kind of an automated functionality, email doesn't know to go grab something else, it doesn't stop for you.
Yeah, so that's the one thing, if you needed to attach other things. One of our purchasing agents, she doesn't just send it out, she sends it to herself first, because she has to attach an Excel. So she sends them a purchase order and an Excel to tell them what bin we pulled it from. So she just emails it to herself, so that it's just quick, because it's just that button, and she doesn't have to save it out. She just emails it to herself and then forwards it to the vendor and attaches that one Excel file. So yeah, it would be cool if you could tell it what other things, but there have to be a lot more logic written.
I was going to say, is there a possibility that we could use Visual Basic in that Word document we talked about to grab these other documents if they were in the standard file somewhere else?
Well, if you did that, you'd have to have it unique for the document. And so everyone that used that document have to go grab the same one, and that may not be the case.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Does it open up an Outlook send window, or is it just send kind of things? Because if an Outlook send window pops up, and you can enter kind of
It just
there.
was going behind the scenes for us yesterday.
Yeah, it doesn't pop up.
Can't tell display Outlook.
No, I haven't seen that option.
Probably going to put your Outlook signature and all the other.
Right.
But
Yeah.
addressing that issue, you can print the screen, any invoice, still,
Mhm.
in the system, and you've got that choice of converting it to a PDF on the fly. That opens up the dialogue in Outlook, and you can attach. That's out of box right now. I don't know if you've ever used that or not, but you actually use that. Stick around and I'll show that to you.
Okay. So I guess what you guys are kind of talking about is just printing this.
Yes, you got it. Print at the screen and then.
Yeah, so from your print screen, you can also send documents in email, or you can just print it, and you print your order. And then you can choose your template or your standard, and then just print that to the screen. And then you see up at the top, it will like, if you're doing a whole bunch at a time, it will kind of count up and then count down. It takes a minute to process if you're doing a whole bunch at the end of the day. So it counts up and it will count down, so you can see that it's processing. If you're doing more than one, it takes probably a couple of minutes, depending on how probably pretty your invoices are, or how much stuff you have on them. But it just kind of counts up as it's processing your template. So then you mean from here, Rob, you can send this to Outlook. You could always just do this. And then, insert your other attachment. So that might be probably the easiest, because it'd be kind of hard to tell what file to go find every time. That's how you can print the screen. If you have an order that's not, if these are grayed out, because that might happen sometimes, it just means that either the customer isn't set up to have those enabled, or you just don't have templates enabled at all. So sometimes you'll open it up and it'll be grayed, and then the next one will have it, and it's just either missing in the customer master or in your setup altogether. So maybe go back today and see if you have those icons on your orders. Also, one of the things that's really helpful, and as I talked about, is you can do batches at a time. So you can either do it from your sales batches window and choose your batch. If you invoice all of your things in one batch, you just choose your batch and print, and you have your same options to send it in email. One thing that we found out that is kind of tricky, but we kind of wish there was a or option, print it or email it if there's an email address, because you might have 50 customers and you might have email addresses for 20 of them, and the other 30 you want to print and mail. What it does is it will send emails to all the ones that have emails, but if you have this print option checked, it will also print them too. So essentially your customer could get it twice if you just mailed out all the ones that printed and then emailed the ones. So what we've done is, as they're batching, they have a batch for email and a batch for print. And we just put 2 asterisks in our customer names so that as they're invoicing, they just know, oh, this is going in this batch, this is going in this batch. So, I don't know. There's probably a better way to do that, but that's how they do. Yeah. So that's one way, because for the first couple of days, we were wasting a lot of paper because we were printing them all out, and then we're like, oh, we emailed these, and then using them as scratch paper. So that's a really nice functionality, is doing it as a batch, because then at the end of the day, it just takes a couple of minutes and processes, and then they all go out. And then if you have an invalid email address, it also will bounce back and say undeliverable, and you're alerted that they didn't get it.
So how many do you email out every day about?
We email out probably 150 invoices a day. So, and we just made a huge push. It's probably in December. We just sent out we sent out letters via email and fax, and however we had information for our customers, and said, please provide email addresses, because that's how we're going to be sending out, order acknowledgments, invoices, order statuses, so that it's just really time consuming to fax. And we even had an automated faxing system, but it was just not as reliable, because your fax would be down or people would get half the page. So it saved us a ton of time to have the email functionality, and it looks really professional, and customers are like, wow, I get it so fast. And so then they can pay you faster. That's what we like. So I think we can kind of went over, the customizing messages that you have. And then...
Did it show up in your Outlook sent box?
Yes. Yep. And maybe the first couple of times that you try it, check your sent against what really you thought. The first couple of days, there was a few that didn't attach, and we found out, well, there was an error on it, so it didn't go. So you just want to check your sent probably to make sure that it went to the right people, or send it to yourself before you test it out on your customers. So, is there any questions? We'll get you out of here early today.
So I might just mention that out of box, there's 22 different reports available. If you had one you really needed before the R2 release, we can do some things behind the scenes to set up a new template for those other reports that are in Great Plains. June?
I guess this is all based on sharing the report dictionary, preferred dictionary. So if someone edited it on their computer, and they're sharing the dictionary with somebody else. Once they edit it between both of you all, the next person uses the same one, they go back and change it back and forth. I guess that's a possibility.
Well, there's a lot of ways to set that up on your system. You can have one dictionary, or you can have one on every workstation. And then once you've modified reports, then you have to designate your user that uses that report. Then you have to create the template off of that. So you have to get all that in sync so it works correctly.
Yeah. But it's not I'm like the dictionary that everyone looks at. So if I make changes, then they just copy it up, and then everyone has it. So, but when I change a Word template, if I add a column or if I change colors or something, I can do that while everyone's in the system. Nothing has to change with the dictionary. They don't have to be out of sales orders. I don't have to kick everyone out. I can do it while they're doing their job, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, the invoice has changed. So it's really nice, because I know a lot of IT reports have to be done at night or on the weekend because everyone has to be out. So that's one nice thing.
Other questions? You did a great job.
Well, I hope you learned something.
Yeah.